Welcome back to Rattlesnake TV, guys. In the last day or so, some shocking footage has emerged of Emmanuel Macron being double-fisted by his husband. That meaning, of course, that he was struck in the face whilst exiting an aeroplane by Bridgette Macron. Just for a little bit of context so nobody was left confused. And this one goes deep because this is not by any means the first scandal that the Macrons have been caught in as of late. So let's review this and much more. But before we get there, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. So getting into the footage here, as you can see, they're exiting the plane and then boom, Bridgette with the double fist punch. And Emmanuel Macron very shortly realizes that there is press outside, so he does this awkward little wave thing here, realizing that he has been completely busted. And this poor little flight attendant here, you can see that she saw what's going on and she just sort of brushes her hair back and says, oh, this is a little bit too much for me. I'm getting out of here. Not trying to get myself fired or maybe worse. And then Bridgette and Emmanuel walk out. Emmanuel offers his arm and Bridgette says no thank you. She refuses the arm. Now, we see some terrible simping on the internet, guys, but just imagine for a second simping for that guy. Now, this one goes much deeper. This is one of the most outrageous scandals in the whole entire world. And it's a scandal that causes us to question everything we know about power dynamics in the world. But you would never know the truth about these issues. In fact, you probably wouldn't hear about it if you just watched the mainstream media. And that's why I turn to Ground News. Check out this story that they've got regarding this. Macron blames disinformation for viral video of wife pushing him in Hanoi. I don't think they're going to be able to disinformation their way out of this one. And when you look at how the left is reporting it, Macron plays down apparent shove from wife in Vietnam, horsing around. France President Emmanuel Macron dismisses viral clip of wife shove. And then even from the right mainstream sources, France's First Lady seems to push her husband as they land in Vietnam. He says they were joking. And this is the beauty of Ground News. You can see a story like this with hundreds of sources and how it's being reported left, center, and right. Pretty much all the same in this case. And what's even better is that for Rattlesnake TV listeners, Ground News is offering a whopping 40% off the Vantage plan, which is what I use. All you've got to do is go to ground.news/rattlesnake. That is ground.news/rattlesnake. Hit the link in the bio or pinned at the top of the comments, or use this QR code on the screen right here. And don't forget, when you support Ground News, you're also helping out independent creators like myself to survive. So with that, let's get back into the story. So if you guys haven't seen this yet, you have to watch Candace Owens's Becoming Bridgette series on YouTube, where she puts forward the case that Bridgette Macron is in fact a man, and Bridgette's whole entire persona is a lie.
Their theory is that Bridgette Macron was actually born Jean-Michel Trogneau. That is the person that you are seeing in this photo here on the far left. That would make her 8 years older than she is currently presenting herself to the public. Of course, you're probably thinking rationally, you're coming online, you're going, okay, well, where's Jean-Michel? Well, guess what, guys? He's missing. Now let's go back to that second photo that I showed you that the Daily Mail had embedded into their article. The one that I just instantly, without even having looked into the story, said, that looks too new. I mean, Bridgette's pretty old. That's actually a recolorized photo of her daughter, Tiffon. I'm going to show you a side-by-side here. It is very obviously Tiffon. So you're telling me the media gets onto the story and as a way to debunk it, you accidentally present a photo of your daughter and recolorize it into black and white? Again, you guys, this is not normal.
For those of you who haven't checked it out, I'm going to give you a quick recap. The scandal is the story of a man that groomed a 14-year-old boy, and that there's also potentially an extremely disturbing incestuous nature to this. Candace Owens builds her case around a series of specific inconsistencies and anomalies in Bridgette Macron's biography, which she argues point to a deliberate cover-up of a gender transition and a deeply inappropriate relationship between 14 or 15-year-old Macron and Bridgette, who was his teacher. Central to her claim is the assertion that Bridgette Macron was originally born a male under the name Jean-Michel Trogneau, the same name as her brother. Now, Candace points to a lack of verifiable records from Bridgette's youth, including sparse or absent childhood photos, unusual gaps in school documentation, and no public evidence of teenage Bridgette existing in official archives until much later in life. She suggests that this vacuum of documentation is not accidental, but engineered, raising suspicion about the authenticity of her publicly accepted identity. Now, in support of this, Owens draws from from the original French sources, namely the work of Natasha Ray, who compiled over 300 pages of investigative material comparing timelines, names, and physical traits. And Natasha, by the way, is being relentlessly attacked by the French government. And she also draws on the work of Xavier Poussard, who authored the book Becoming Bridgette. Throughout the series, Candace emphasizes that Bridgette's body language, facial structure, and voice timbre have led many, including medical professionals, to question whether she was biologically female at birth. And for those of you who have looked into it, it's pretty conclusive. It is a dude. Furthermore, Candace highlights the highly unusual nature of Bridgette's relationship with Emmanuel Macron. She was his teacher, 24 years his senior, and became romantically involved with him while he was still a teenager. Now, obviously, if this dynamic was reversed, and it was a 38-year-old, might have been older by the way, man who had groomed a 14-year-old girl, then I don't think the narrative surrounding this would be a romantic situation of two star-crossed lovers. And since Candace's series, it's done a great job in highlighting the scandal itself and also highlighting the work of the journalists who have risked a lot to put this information out there, everything is falling apart for the Macrons. The propaganda and the lies surrounding Bridgette, the First Lady's identity, and the nature of their relationship has been falling apart. And it's becoming increasingly clear that the French government is hiding something extremely sinister. And recently, Candace hinted at a season 2 of Becoming Bridgette, which is something that really whets the appetite.
There is so much more that is happening behind the scenes. I feel I have to commit myself to doing a Becoming Bridgette season 2, because if you knew what I knew that I'm not allowed to tell you right now, your mind would blow. Your mind would blow. I'm telling you, Bridgette and Macron, Bridgette and Emmanuel, they're coming undone. And my series has been the undoing of them. They are doing the absolute most behind the scenes, trying to shut down any conversation because all of the evidence is there. Something very demented has gone on in that relationship. Emmanuel Macron has never been the leader of France. Bridgette has groomed him from the time that he was a child. They are still lying about everything. They're lying right now in court, by the way. They recently had a hearing. They've been harassing that woman, Natasha Ray, who has cancer. The woman is on welfare, and yet they've gone after her because she misspoke.
So make sure to watch season 1 and prep yourself for what's to come. Anyways, the response to this from the Elysee Palace has been nothing short of jaw-dropping. Initially, they said that the footage was AI and that it was doctored by the Russians. And then when that lie was exposed, they had to retract that statement and then said it was a moment of closeness, playfulness. They were just decompressing after a long flight. They were just horsing around. Now, I want you guys to just imagine for a second that this was not the Macrons, but this was the Trumps. Imagine it was Donald Trump and Melania caught in this moment, but not Melania throwing the double fist, but it was Donald Trump doing it to Melania. How do you think the mainstream media would have responded to this? Would they have called it Russian disinformation? Would they have called it an alleged shove? Would it have just been a little bit of horsing around? I have my doubts. But it's not the first time, actually, that Emmanuel Macron has been caught horsing around recently. As you can see here, he had Keir Starmer in town, and he's with some other guy, and when they take a seat, he grabs what looks to be a white substance and hides it. And under the other guy's arm, which he hides pretty swiftly, there seems to be a white line of some sort going on. Could it have been that Emmanuel Macron has been horsing around with a bit of booger sugar? I mean, at this stage, with the stuff that we're learning about him, that story would be like water off a duck's back. But Macron, luckily, has come out and spoken about both incidents. And he's denied that there's anything to them and said that everybody just needs to calm down.
On fait dire à une vidéo beaucoup de bêtises. Sur ces 3 vidéos, j'ai ramassé un Kleenex, serré la main à quelqu'un et juste plaisanté avec mon épouse comme on le fait assez souvent. Moi, ça fait 3 semaines. Si vous faites l'agenda international du président de la République française, de Kiev à Tirana jusqu'à Hanoï, il y a des gens qui ont regardé des vidéos et qui pensent que j'ai partagé un sac de cocaïne, que j'ai fait un mano à mano avec un président turc et que là maintenant je suis en train d'avoir une scène de ménage avec ma femme. Rien de tout ça n'est vrai, pourtant ces 3 vidéos sont vraies. Donc il faut que tout le monde se calme et surtout s'intéresse au fond de l'actualité, voilà.
Just relax, everybody. Me and Bridgette, we're just horsing around. We're just playing. Yeah, horsing around, all right. But I mean, the main thing that we all want to know is why the hell was Bridgette Macron, a dude, horsing around with a 14-year-old when she was in her 30s, maybe even 40s? That's what we want to know. So I'll leave you with this funny parody done by French comedian Hughes Lavigne.
Brigitte, bonjour à toutes et à tous. Je descends, je m'amuse. On se chamaille avec ma femme. Laisse-moi, Brigitte, je tout de suite.
That's it from me today, guys. Don't forget to smash that like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. Check out Ground News, great company supporting the channel. And if you'd like to watch another one, right here. Till next time, I'm Jake. This is Rattlesnake TV, keeping you armed and dangerous.